What up, y'all? Welcome to Monday Motivation. Oh my gosh. And I truly need this because I literally recorded this only to have it all disappear. So this is round 2 for Monday Motivation for me. So I need it. And this week's Monday Motivation is how to find the strength through technical difficulties. Not really. I'm currently trying to work through that. So maybe that might be another Monday Motivation in the future. But this Monday Motivation is about something else. Well, actually, first of all, let me explain what Monday Motivation is actually all about. So I used to write a weekly letter, if you were subscribed to my newsletter, that was telling people about a time in my life in which I struggled and how I got through it. And so I decided to move it to Instagram because I wanted it to reach a broader audience. The people that were getting the letter on the newsletter loved it, but I wanted to make sure that everybody was getting access to it. So welcome to Monday Motivation. And so I also did an audience survey on which a lot of people indicated that they liked things like Insta stories and interactive things. And so I felt like Monday Motivation was a really great segment to be able to move into that kind of format. So for those of you that are new to Monday Motivation and Yes Queen, Yes Queens, I am so excited that you're here. Yes Queen is my blog / personal website that I really wanted to build around female reaffirmations of power, because women and women of color and marginalized people were the community that I worked a lot with when I worked at BuzzFeed. So now that that's out of the way, I will start Monday Motivation. And this week's Monday Motivation is all about creating opportunity for yourself and not just accepting the path that is set out before you. So I'm going to tell you a story about how I got my first entertainment industry internship and how I was hired to do one thing and I was able to create an opportunity for myself to get experience in a different area. So check it. It is the summer of 2013. And so I actually got into media studies and video production pretty late in my college career. It wasn't until my junior year. And so most people, especially if you come in like your freshman, sophomore year, you have 2 to 3 summers to intern somewhere. And so I only had 1 summer, and that was the summer between my junior year and my senior year. And I remember being really stressed out about it because anyone that works in entertainment knows that experience is a very huge component. If you don't have experience, they're not going to look at you, period. But I just kind of, I stuck to my guns. I applied to a ton of different internships and I managed to land one at a production company where I was a creative development intern. But, I wasn't mad at it at all because honestly, at the end of the day, I was just so, I just need experience. So whatever it is, I'll do it. I'll make it work. I'll make it happen. You want me to get coffee? I'll be the best damn coffee grabber you can have. And luckily, there was a squad of us. I think there were at least maybe 10 interns. So the coffee duty was always split up in a way in which I probably got coffee once a week because I interned there 3 days a week. So anyway, so I got the internship. I think I interned between June to late August. And so when I started there, my role was, yes, reading scripts and getting coffee. But in my heart of hearts, I was actually really interested in doing video editing. But again, just because I was so stressed out about getting experience, I was like, you know what, this will all translate somehow. So, but I wanted to be an editor. The other part about this story that I should bring up is that, so I didn't have a lot of money, and I was lucky enough to get a grant from my school to be able to do the internship because it was, of course, unpaid, but it still wasn't a lot. And so what I did is I ended up getting a very cheap apartment in Claremont, and I didn't have a car, so I would walk 30 minutes from my apartment to the train station and then take a 45-minute train into downtown LA. And then from downtown LA, I would get on the subway, and that was about another 20 to 30 minutes on the subway. And then I'd get off the subway, and then I'd get on a bus, and that was probably another 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the bus. And then I got on a camel. No, I'm just playing. But the bus luckily dropped me out. It dropped me off right in front of the internship. So all in all, I did the internship 3 days a week. So I commuted 5 hours a day, which meant that in a week I was commuting 15 hours a week on a bus and a train and a camel, JK. But yeah, so, it was a lot. But you know, I'm a hustler. I make shit happen. So to me, and I never complained about it. It was just kind of like, well, that's where it is. I don't have money. I can't afford a car. Like, I got to do what I got to do because I need this experience. So on the other vein of not having money, like I mentioned, the internship didn't pay us, but they did provide free food. And so for me, because I was like, I need to save my monies, I would definitely capitalize on the free food. And so I became known as the sandwich girl. Like, I was the girl that knew how to make bomb sandwiches. Like, everyone would come up in there trying to make these basic ass ham and cheeses. And I was like, oh no, I'm about to go to town. Like, they had sourdough bread, they had olive oil, they had sea salt. Like, I used to put olive oil on my bread and then I would toast it up, salt it a little bit, and then I'd throw on the cheese as it was toasting to melt real right. They had avocado, so you know some avocados on that bitch. Like, I used to do it so right. Like, Panera had nothing on the shit that I was throwing down in this internship kitchen. So yes, I was sandwich girl, but the thing about there being free food is that everyone was always in the kitchen at some point. And so at the time, the production company was working on a sports doc with HBO. And so every now and then, the two lead editors on the project would be in the kitchen getting food. And of course, they would see me out here being sandwich girl as I was. And, you know, like, we would just chit chat, like, how's your weekend? Like, that sandwich looks good. Like, I know, you know, stuff like that. And I will say, so I'm someone that hates the idea of formal networking. Like, I am an introvert. And so the idea of making pointless small talk to, like, manipulate my way into what I want is like, bleh. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm all about getting what I want, but to me, it has to feel like an organic, like, not pushy kind of way. And I think formal networking can feel like that. So I don't like that. I like making genuine connection. So anyway, I would be in the kitchen and we would be chit-chatting it up, and you know, occasionally they would talk about what they were working on the project. I'd be like, oh, that's really cool, you know, I'm really interested in editing, so if you ever need help, like, I'm totally down to help. And so I didn't say this every single time that I saw them, but again, anytime that they were naturally telling me about progress on the project, I would always just kind of remind them that I was always there to help whenever they needed it. And when I would say it with no strings attached. Like, literally, if you want my help, I'm there. If you don't want it, I could have went the whole summer and not have even touched the project, and I would have been fine. I actually really loved reading scripts. This is just a side story for anyone that has ambitions to be a screenwriter of some sort. I would say that if you need a confidence booster, at least, like, be a development intern at least once. It will boost your confidence like you don't even know. The crazy scripts that people had the audacity to submit sometimes, and I was like, oh, this is what we do? This is what gets into the hands of production companies like this? Like, this is all I have to do? These nonsense ass, no narrative having it. Like, it was just insane, some of the things that I read. So anyway, that's a tangent. If you want to be a scriptwriter, I would definitely suggest that you do creative development if you need a confidence booster. So now back to the main story. One of the lead editors happened to be pregnant. And so when she went on maternity leave, the other editor immediately turned to me and he was like, hey, you said you're interested in editing, right? And so he offered me to come up and take her spot. And so I was hella chill about it. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm into it. So I would totally love to help. But like, in my head, I was like, bitch, yes, like, I fucking did it. So yes, and so I didn't get to edit per se. I was actually doing a lot of research, like looking up footage and pulling footage and stuff like that. But I can't even tell you, I was so happy and excited to be up there until I wasn't. And what was so beneficial about having that experience is that it actually showed me how much I enjoy editing, but I don't like editing other people's stuff. But even with that realization, I still enjoyed every bit of time that I spent up there. Just getting to watch the lead editor edit and see how it works from an industry standpoint was so beneficial. And the funny thing about having that realization is that, so Even when I don't like something, I still see it through till the end. And so I was doing the internship and I realized that like this wasn't really for me, but you know, I still kill it. I kill anything I always aim to do the best at whatever it is I have before me. And so that was kind of the mentality I had about finishing out that internship. And so the crazy thing about it is that the lead editor enjoyed my work so much that he and the owner of the production company, they offered me the ability to drop out or take a semester off to finish the doc. And so it was a huge compliment on my end. I was really excited. It's like the experience that you read about in all of these books. And then I was offered the role that I left everything behind for, and it changed my life. But I ultimately had to turn it down. I had come way too far in school and had accrued way too much debt to not have a degree at the end of it all. Real talk. So I ended up turning it down. But I think this story, when I think about Monday Motivation, one of the biggest things that I'm also trying to motivate people to do is put it in the universe. I talk about that a lot. And the reason why I talk about putting it in the universe so much is that, like, if you aren't even real with yourself about what you want, how is it going to manifest itself into the world, right? So when we think about my internship, like, I had two choices. I could have totally accepted the path before me and just been like, you know, I was hired to be a creative development intern and I'm just gonna read scripts and get coffee, and that's that. But you know, I'm someone that's very ambitious and I'm not afraid to be real with myself and admit the things that I really want. And so I was always very cognizant of the fact that, man, I would really love to get some editing experience out of this as well. And I can literally tell you, like, when I would talk to them in the kitchen and I would say that, like, I never thought in 1,000 years that they were gonna take me to do it. Like, I had been saying it for weeks and, you know, they never took me up on it. But the other thing you should think is, like, just imagine if I had never said anything, if we had never talked about it, if I was never real to them or myself about me wanting that experience, they would have never thought to come to me for it. So as we go forth for this week and we think about what it means to create opportunities for ourselves and not just accept the options that people lay out before us, I also really want you guys to keep in mind this idea of putting it into the universe, like being real with yourself. And like, even, you know, if putting it out into the actual universe of like social media is scary, at least let's work on admitting it to ourselves. So that's all I got from Monday Motivation this week. If you liked what you listened to and you want to have access to all of this unapologetic fierceness and all of this Monday motivation, feel free to subscribe to the Yes Queen newsletter. And you can also follow Yes Queen now on Twitter and Facebook. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I hope this story motivates you and inspires you to go out there, put it in the universe, conquer what you want, be the most fiercest, unapologetic queen there is out there.